This year's post-Christmas fixtures marked the halfway point of the Premier League season, and we were served up plenty of festive treats. Manchester United battled back from 2 goals down to beat Aston Villa in a 5-goal thriller at Old Trafford, while Liverpool maintained their title challenge with a 2-0 win at Burnley. But it was a dismal Boxing Day for Newcastle as they lost 3-1 at home to Nottingham Forest, with Chris Wood scoring a hat-trick to haunt his former club and hand Nuno Espirito his first win since replacing Steve Cooper. Bournemouth swatted aside Fulham to continue their brilliant run of form, and Luton edged past Sheffield United in a relegation 6-pointer. Meanwhile, Arsenal were dealt a hammer blow against West Ham, Chelsea got back on track, Spurs continued their stuttering season, while Man City got back to winning ways after returning from the Club World Cup. Mailsport has looked at 10 things we learned from the midweek Premier League action. Yet the Red Devils produced an inspired second-half display, and teenage sensation Alejandro Garnacho was at the heart of it. Garnacho can be frustrating to watch and his end product has been questioned, but he is also capable of producing moments of breathtaking quality, as we saw with his stunning overhead kick goal against Everton last month. On Tuesday night, he took it upon himself to get United back into the game, scoring twice to pull his side level before Rasmus Højlund netted the winner. Garnacho has proven himself to be United's best winger this season, and he is not afraid to try things that won't always come off. It has been a torrid season for Erik ten Hag's men, but they deserve immense credit for the character they showed against Villa, and it was Garnacho who kick-started the comeback. Mohamed Salah is set to depart for the Africa Cup of Nations next week, and Liverpool could be without their talisman for over a month. Concerns have been raised over whether the Reds will struggle for goals when Salah leaves, but that wasn't an issue on Boxing Day. Darwin Núñez ended his goal drought within 5 minutes before Diogo Jota returned from injury to score late on and wrap up the 3 points. Cody Gakpo's performance was also a major positive as he looked more threatening than he has for a number of weeks. Jurgen Klopp also has Luis Diaz to throw into the mix, and Harvey Elliott could also be pushed further forward after starring as a super sub this term. Any team would miss Salah, but Tuesday's display should give Liverpool fans reason to be optimistic that they will still score plenty of goals over the coming weeks. Newcastle have been badly hampered by injuries over the last 2 months, but Tuesday's performance against Nottingham Forest was alarming. Forest looked dangerous every time they went forward and will wonder how they only managed to score 3 goals in the end. Newcastle's midfield was virtually non-existent as Forest counterattacked at will and created chance after chance. Eddie Howe's 2 years at the helm have been a major success, but he is now facing the biggest challenge of his tenure. The Magpies have been knocked out of Europe and the Carabao Cup in December, and they play Liverpool, Manchester City and Aston Villa in January, plus the small matter of a Northeast derby against Sunderland in the FA Cup. Howe needs to find a better balance in his midfield or his side will be picked apart in these games and their season could begin to fall apart quickly. Kieran Trippier admitted after Tuesday's defeat that his standards have dropped in recent weeks. He is not the only one struggling, but Newcastle have no time to feel sorry for themselves if they want to arrest their slump and get back into the mix for a Champions League finish. When Bournemouth were thrashed 6-1 by Manchester City at the start of November, they had taken just 6 points from their opening 11 games and were 17th in the table, and manager Andoni Iraola looked on the brink. 7 matches later, they have picked up another 19 points, and some Cherries fans may even be dreaming of their side mounting a charge to get into Europe. It has been a remarkable turnaround for Iraola's side, and they are only getting better. Their run has included wins over Newcastle and Manchester United, and Fulham had no answer for their free-flowing football on Tuesday either. Bournemouth were even given their first penalty in 20 months, which Dominic Solanke coolly converted. There really is no stopping Bournemouth right now. In the minds of some fans and pundits, it is a foregone conclusion that Luton will be relegated back down to the Championship this season. That dismissiveness is understandable when you consider that they only won 2 of their first 16 games. But they have doubled that tally of victories over the past week to show that they won't be going down without a fight. Their win against Newcastle before Christmas saw Rob Edwards' side dig deep to hang on for an important 1-0 win. Playing again 3 days later, he may have worried that his players would struggle to match those energy levels at Sheffield United. With 15 minutes to go, Luton were 2-1 down and heading for defeat, but they kept pushing and got their reward with 2 late goals to turn the game in their favor. The Hatters are now within striking distance of safety and are starting to build some momentum. They may just be able to pull off the great escape. Something has been missing from Chelsea's team this season, and after the last two games it's clear that something has been Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea's £52 million signing has been absent for the entire season so far with a knee injury before scoring on his Premier League debut against Wolves, and was then picked to start in the Blues' 2-1 win over Palace. Nkunku didn't have the best game of his life against the Eagles, but what he did do was offer Chelsea an outlet in attack, resuming his dangerous partnership with Nicholas Jackson from pre-season and allowing his teammate to push further forward. It also allows players like Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez to play in their natural, deeper positions in midfield after previously filling in as the number 10 and providing Nkunku the freedom to push up. Nkunku still needs more time to get to his conditioning back to its best after being withdrawn by Pochettino after 71 minutes, but it's clear he's provided an immediate impact and given Chelsea back their edge in attack. For Spurs this season, it seems like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Ange Postecoglou's side went from losing 3 in a row in November to winning 3 in a row in December, before suffering a damaging 4-2 loss to Brighton. But the defeat and inconsistent form only serve to highlight some of the same glaring issues that keep coming up for Tottenham in their defeats this season. A look through the Brighton goals shows 2 incredible strikes and 2 penalties, but what cannot be excused is the ill discipline that resulted in the 2 spot kicks. Kulusevski was rightly punished for giving away a needless penalty after some shirt pulling, while Giovanni Lo Celso showed total carelessness to slide from behind. We've already seen Spurs pick up 4 red cards this season, while there have been a handful of suspensions too. On top of sloppy defending and unlucky injuries, Spurs' season is being dismantled by poor discipline leading to penalties and suspensions, and it could be the difference between a top 7 finish and a top 4 finish. 30 shots on target, no goals. Mikel Arteta will have been pulling his hair out after watching his side dominate West Ham but do little with the ball after their shock 2-0 loss that dealt a hammer blow to their title hopes. The Spaniard couldn't hide his disappointment with the team's blunted attack force at the Emirates on Thursday night as his players failed to act on his scribbled notes to attack West Ham's hot zone. The front 3 of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli failed to threaten David Moyes' side enough, with the former hitting the post as Arsenal's struggles in front of goal were laid bare. A move for Ivan Toney has been mooted in the media, and the Brentford striker would certainly boost Arsenal's numbers as they look to overtake Liverpool in the battle for the Premier League title. Josko Gvardiol's rollicking by Pep Guardiola spoke 1,000 words. Getting an earful after a 3-1 defeat is usually unheard of after a 3-1 victory, but the Man City coach could not have been happy after initially going 1-0 down against Everton as it continued their woeful run of 7 straight games without a clean sheet, stretching back to late October when they beat Man United 3-0. While City collected their 5th trophy of the calendar year at the Club World Cup this month, they've hardly been the same slick outfit from last season, and defensively the Premier League champions have left a lot to be desired. Their last game before heading off to Saudi was a 2-2 draw at home to Crystal Palace, in which they went 2-0 up before a late collapse, and earlier in the month City had also twice led against Spurs until they capitulated in a 3-3 draw. After also failing to keep a clean sheet in following games against Villa and even struggling Luton, Guardiola will be concerned about City's lapses in concentration at the back. Their 21 goals conceded this season is significantly more than their title rivals Liverpool, who have only led in 16, while second-placed Arsenal have led in 18. Getting his side into a more solid defensive shape will be a priority for Guardiola, who knows that scoring goals isn't a worry. Even without Erling Haaland, the Hammers must have enjoyed their famous win over Arsenal that little bit more after beating the team that took their star player from last season for £105 million, before watching him concede a last